You've lived arguably in one of the best countries in the world, the United States. I mean, it's the richest country in the world, and you've been fortunate enough to also live in Kenya, which is considered as a third world country. And when you look at the food choices of these two countries, it's very different. I mean, from the food literacy point of view, you could easily argue that citizens of the United States are very much food literate compared to any other country. Freedom of the press. People are given the choice to choose which kind of food they can be able to purchase, and people have an opportunity to read from different places, different things, to get more information on what kind of food they can be able to choose. But that doesn't seem the case. The United States is using a lot of their budget in healthcare, for example, and very much little in buying food, for example. And we all know that food is medicine. So maybe you can help us clarify what is happening here. Why is this disconnect really happening in one of the richest country and one of arguably the most literate citizens?
America has the best and the worst of any country. It's the worst because when you talk about, you grew up in the village, for some, and you spent some time in the village. So you're obviously very familiar with the fact that when we went to the school in the village, we all wore the same uniform. At least I didn't know about your time, but in my time, we all went to school barefoot. So it really didn't matter whether my parents could buy me shoes or they couldn't buy me shoes. We all went to school barefoot. In other words, there was very little difference between the wealth gap between the have and the have-nots. So the village, when I went to the village, it was a very, very good environment for me to go to school. I'm saying that to say that in the U.S., you can be poor just relative to how wealthy other people are. You see, so you are at a very great disadvantage because those people who are wealthy have so much advantage over you and over your children. So that's first point. Second point is a very good place for people who have money. So you have some of the best education in the world for people who have money in the U.S. Because, you can test, you think about it. With a country with 350 million, if you are powerful in this country, that means you can pull strings for your son to go and work at Google, for example, to work at Apple, for example, to go and meet Jeff Bezos if you have power. Okay, you can be the president of the U.S., being the president of Kenya, for example, simply because you're the prime minister, you're the president of Kenya, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have access to the president of some of these big corporations, for example. So having said that, now let me answer your question. One of the beautiful things about the U.S. is that they have, I don't know whether people can see it on the camera. I have a label. I have a label on this avocado. And it has 5 digits. On the bottom of it, start with a 9, and it's 5-digit number. That simple thing makes America a very, very different place to live from another country that does not have the Organic Food Act. Because what that label does, it tells you exactly how much chemicals are put in this avocado. And I have a squash, and the same thing squash you can see with the squash. If I can hold it to the camera, you can see that you have somebody can take a picture of it, they can enlarge it, but you see it's a number that starts with a 9. It's a 5-digit number. In the U.S., the beautiful thing, and one thing I highly appreciate with the U.S., is America allows you to know when you're poisoning yourself. How beautiful is that? So you want to kill yourself? Okay, you're killing yourself at this rate. This is how much chemicals you are. That's something very simple, small, but yet Kenya hasn't been able to do that, and most African countries have been able to do that, and for political reasons. Because if you have Organic Food Act in Kenya, that means a lot of the big corporations here in the U.S. will not be able to bring food in Kenya that's toxic. Why? Because they will label, and everybody will know that there's so much chemicals in the food that we are consuming. But when you say, no, we are not going to label, you make everybody, you make no distinction between somebody who is literate and illiterate about food. Because, okay, if you are illiterate about food, or if you're literate about food, but you don't have means of measuring or determining what kind of food you're consuming, then what good is your literacy helping you in? It doesn't help you. So that's why I came up with the concept of food literacy, that we have to be literate about food. We have to be literate about food. If we are not, then we have liberation or we have freedoms, but no way of exercising those freedoms. It's like being literate, but not having books to read.
Yeah.
Okay. Easy as being into having school fees, but no schools to attend. Okay. So it doesn't help you to have school fees if you can attend any schools.